Welcome to Infinite and Universe with new interesting episode. For a long time, people believed that the voices of ancient civilizations had disappeared forever, buried under centuries of silence. But what if those voices were never truly gone? What if they were simply waiting for the right tool to bring them back? Today, that tool is artificial intelligence. From reading scrolls that were burned during volcanic eruptions to making sense of mysterious symbols that no one has understood for thousands of years, AI is now uncovering the secrets of the ancient world. These were messages carved into bones, written on fragile scrolls, or painted onto stone, left behind by people who lived long ago. Now, with the help of advanced machines, we are beginning to understand what they were trying to say. One of the most mysterious examples comes from the region around the Danube River, which flows through parts of modern-day Serbia, Bulgaria, and Romania. There, archaeologists discovered symbols etched into old tablets. These strange markings, which became known as the Danube script, were so old that they might even predate the writing systems of ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. For many years, no one could agree on what these symbols meant or whether they were even a form of writing at all. Some experts believed they were just decorations. But then, researchers began using AI to study the patterns in the symbols. The results were surprising. The AI found repeating patterns and a level of structure that suggested these weren't just random shapes. It looked like a real written language. Although we still haven't translated it, AI has shown that this was an actual system of writing, possibly the oldest ever found. That discovery changes everything we thought we knew about when and where writing first began. In another part of the world, AI is helping scientists decode ancient Babylonian tablets written in a script called Akkadian. These tablets are thousands of years old and often damaged, making them hard to read. But now, using powerful neural networks trained on massive collections of ancient text, AI can fill in the missing parts of these writings. It's like doing a digital puzzle, where the machine predicts what should go in the broken or missing spots. This has allowed researchers to restore old stories, legal codes, and even warnings about events that may have happened before the Great Flood. Some of the restored texts talk about forbidden rituals, heavenly punishments, and secrets that were buried long ago. These aren't just tales from the past, they may offer clues to how ancient people saw the world and dealt with danger, survival, and power. With Ari's help, Babylon is speaking again, and the messages it brings might change how we understand the birth of civilization. Then there are the Dead Sea Scrolls, which were hidden in caves near the Dead Sea for thousands of years. These ancient texts, written on fragile parchment, have fascinated scholars since they were first found. But for decades, no one knew exactly who wrote them or why. People assumed one person had copied each scroll, but AI proved that theory wrong. By analyzing the smallest differences in the handwriting, things the human eye can't even notice, AI revealed that at least 2 different scribes worked on the same scroll. That's a big discovery. It shows that the writing of these scrolls may have been part of a larger, organized operation. It also suggests that the people who wrote them might have had different goals or intentions. Some may have been preserving religious teachings, while others were recording secret knowledge or warning about upcoming dangers. By studying more of these texts with AI, researchers are uncovering new layers of meaning and discovering that these scrolls were not just spiritual writings, they might have been survival guides, hidden messages, or records of resistance during dangerous times. One of the most exciting uses of AI in archaeology has come from an ancient Roman town called Herculaneum, which was buried in ash when Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD. Inside this town was a library filled with scrolls that were turned into black lumps by the heat and ash. For years, scientists tried to read them, but every attempt risked destroying the scrolls. Then, researchers turned to artificial intelligence. By using CT scans and machine learning, AI was able to unwrap the scrolls virtually without opening them physically. As a result, these once unreadable scrolls are now being decoded, revealing the thoughts of Roman philosophers who wrote about life, pleasure, pain, and even the nature of the soul. Some of these writings were so bold they could have gotten the writers in trouble in their own time. But now, we get to read them, and they give us a new look into the minds of people who lived thousands of years ago. AI has also helped with another ancient language called cuneiform, which was used in Mesopotamia more than 5,000 years ago. The symbols were pressed into clay tablets using a sharpstick, and they tell stories, laws, and trade records from one of the earliest civilizations on Earth. For a long time, translating these tablets took months or even years. Only a few experts could do it. But today, AI models trained on thousands of translated texts can now decode these tablets almost instantly. And they're not just translating the words, they're revealing what the writers were thinking. Some of the messages warn about famine, betrayal, or the fall of their society. It makes you wonder if the people who wrote them were trying to warn future generations or just record their fears. Either way, thanks to AI, those long-lost messages are now being heard. There's also an amazing tool named Pythia, developed by researchers from Google DeepMind and Oxford. This AI specializes in restoring damaged Greek inscriptions that are thousands of years old. Many of these old writings are missing parts because the stone was broken or worn down. Pythia looks at the style, grammar, and structure of the text, then predicts what the missing parts might have been. This process, which used to take experts years, now happens in seconds. Some of the messages recovered reveal ancient secrets about politics, religion, and society. For example, some inscriptions show how powerful leaders may have tried to cover up certain events. Others hint at hidden conflicts or cultural rules that were never written down anywhere else. These stone messages are like whispers from the past, and with Ari's help, we are finally hearing them loud and clear. Other ancient scripts are even more mysterious, like those from the Indus Valley and Easter Island. These symbols have puzzled scholars for decades because there are no bilingual texts, nothing like the Rosetta Stone, to help crack the code. The Indus Valley script is over 4,500 years old, and many experts once believed it wasn't even a real language. But AI is proving them wrong. Machines are now finding patterns and repeated structures in the symbols that suggest they do follow the rules of a language. It's still a work in progress, but the signs are promising. The same is happening with the Rongorongo script from Easter Island. This writing looks like a collection of strange shapes and images, but AI is starting to see grammatical patterns that humans couldn't find. If these breakthroughs continue, we might finally understand what these civilizations were trying to say, and it could completely change our view of ancient history. In China, another incredible discovery has come from burned animal bones used by rulers of the Shang dynasty more than 3,000 years ago. These bones, called oracle bones, were used to ask the gods for guidance. Priests or kings would carve questions into the bones, then heat them until they cracked. They believed the cracks held the answers. These carvings are now considered the earliest form of Chinese writing. For a long time, the script was too hard to read. But now, with AI models trained on thousands of scanned bones, researchers can finally read them in real time. The messages speak about war, natural disasters, royal decisions, and even prophesies. Some of them reveal political moves based on what the gods were believed to have said. Others warn of betrayals or future disasters. These aren't just old fortune-telling tools, they are records of how a powerful civilization made decisions and kept its people in control. Thanks to AI, the voices of ancient China are now part of the global conversation. Another breakthrough involves the ancient Maya civilization. The Maya used a highly complex writing system full of symbols, animals, and geometric patterns. For years, this system was one of the hardest to understand. Each symbol had multiple meanings, and scholars struggled to separate them and find their meanings. But now, with advanced AI models trained on huge amounts of data, researchers can separate the symbols and start decoding them one by one. It's a huge step forward. These writings talk about astronomy, kingship, wars, and religious ceremonies. Some even describe the calendar systems that the Maya were famous for. With each new line of text decoded, we learn more about a civilization that built great cities, tracked the stars, and had a deep understanding of time and nature. AI isn't just helping us read old texts, it's helping us feel connected to people from the distant past. These people lived in worlds that were very different from ours, but they still asked the same big questions. Who are we? Why are we here? What happens after we die? They used the tools they had, stones, bones, ink, and fire, to leave behind their thoughts, fears, and dreams. For a long time, those messages were buried, forgotten, or destroyed. But now, with the help of machines, we're finding them again. This new way of exploring the past is like listening to echoes from another world. It's not just about finding old facts, it's about understanding the emotions, beliefs, and lives of people who came before us. Whether it's a burned scroll from a Roman library, a cracked bone from a Chinese temple, or a stone carving from an island in the Pacific, AI is helping us hear voices that were once lost in time. And as technology continues to grow, who knows what other secrets it will uncover? One thing is clear, the past isn't as silent as we once thought, it's been waiting patiently for us to listen. For centuries, archaeologists and historians tried to understand the secrets hidden in ancient temples, worn-out codices, and mysterious symbols. They spent years staring at faded carvings, trying to make sense of what looked like chaos. But now, artificial intelligence is doing what humans could barely imagine, decoding these ancient writings in seconds. It can identify individual signs and separate different structures with unbelievable accuracy. This is a huge deal. It's like teaching a machine how to recognize letters before it starts reading full sentences. And that step is unlocking new layers of knowledge buried in history. Scholars are using this breakthrough to uncover the true meanings behind royal family trees, wars, astronomy, and even human sacrifices that were once part of ancient rituals. Some symbols that people thought were just decorative are now being revealed as names, dates, or warnings. These messages were right there in plain sight, but we couldn't understand them until now. The more glyphs AI decodes, the more we realize that the Maya civilization wasn't just recording time, they were trying to control it. But this leads to an even bigger question. What other ancient secrets are still sitting silently on temple walls or buried deep inside ancient books, just waiting for the right technology to bring them back to life? AI is now reading ancient scripts that no one has understood in thousands of years. Languages like Ugaritic and Linear used to be understood by only a few experts. These scripts were part of long-lost worlds, but now, with the help of artificial intelligence, researchers are making serious progress. They're using advanced algorithms that analyze patterns and similarities, and the results are astonishing. The AI has improved Ugaritic decoding by 5.5%, and it achieved a 67.3% accuracy with Linear B, a script connected to the ancient Greek world. Why does this matter? Because these aren't just old letters, they're keys to unlocking ancient cultures. Ugaritic offers clues about forgotten myths and early Semitic languages. Linear B opens the door to early Greek civilization, including trade, politics, and religion. These dead scripts are now being brought back to life by AI, giving voice to entire civilizations that had been lost to time. And what's even more exciting is that some of these newly translated texts talk about complex political systems, secret rituals, and ancient trade routes that could change everything we thought we knew about the Bronze Age. So now we have to wonder, how many more ancient languages are just waiting for AI to break their silence? Because once these machines start decoding, history doesn't stay buried for long. Sometimes, what AI uncovers is not just surprising, it's terrifying. A humanoid robot came across a weathered stone in a remote desert, covered in strange symbols. When it translated the text, it wasn't a story or a record, it was a warning. Who carved these symbols? Why did the AI freeze in silence when it read them? Could this be a long-lost prophecy? A countdown? Whatever it was, it shook even the machine that discovered it. And then there's the Nazca lines, huge symbols carved into the desert in Peru. For more than 1,000 years, these massive artworks were visible only from the sky. No one really knew who made them or why. But now, with the help of AI and high-resolution drone images, scientists have discovered nearly 1,300 new geoglyphs. Yes, you read that right. We've nearly doubled the number of known Nazca lines, and many of them had been hidden by time and sand. The AI scanned each drone image frame by frame, picking up patterns that the human eye would never catch. Some figures are over 100 feet wide. Others are so faint they look like scratches in the dust. But together, they're changing what we know about the Nazca people. Were these images messages to gods? Star maps? Warnings? Some symbols show animals and shapes that have never been seen before in Nazca art. Does this mean other cultures helped create them, or that the meanings changed over time? Whatever the answer, The desert has started speaking again, and AI is the one listening. Meanwhile, deep in southeastern Europe, researchers are exploring symbols carved into artifacts over 7,000 years ago. These mysterious markings, called the Danube script, could be the oldest writing system on Earth, older than the pyramids, older than Mesopotamia. For decades, experts didn't know what to make of them. There was no language to compare them with, no guide to follow. But now, AI is on the case. Using advanced machine learning, researchers are analyzing hundreds of these symbols. They're comparing how often each one appears, matching them with known ancient scripts, and testing to see if the patterns follow a language. Some symbols keep showing up like punctuation marks, while others may point to spiritual or scientific meanings. If the Danube script turns out to be a true writing system, it could completely change our understanding of how and where writing first began. With AI leading the charge, the ancient whispers from Europe's forgotten past are finally being heard. In Iran, the oldest war in writing has been locked inside clay tablets for more than 5,000 years. The Proto-Elamite script, created by one of humanity's earliest civilizations, has never been fully decoded. There is no known language to connect it to, no translation key, only strange symbols carved in silence. But AI is getting closer. Scientists are feeding thousands of these mysterious symbols into deep learning systems, training them to recognize patterns, compare shapes, and understand how they connect. And guess what? It's starting to work. The AI is finding tiny changes in style, repeated symbol groups, and combinations that may represent names, numbers, or even grammar. What if these tablets contain ancient myths, trade records, or secret beliefs? If AI can fully decode Proto-Elamite, it wouldn't just be reading old writing, it would be giving a voice to a civilization that came before Persia and helped shape Mesopotamia. A civilization whose influence we barely even recognize. And with machines doing the decoding, the script that was once the quietest in history might soon be heard loud and clear. Even underneath old ink and parchment, history has been hiding. Researchers used powerful hyperspectral cameras to scan ancient medieval manuscripts and discovered something unbelievable, entire hidden texts that had been erased or written over long ago. These weren't just scribbles. They included lost commentary on the Bible, forgotten scientific ideas, and medical knowledge that had disappeared from history books. Many of these texts were covered up during times of censorship or crisis. Others were overwritten simply because parchment was expensive and had to be reused. But now, thanks to AI, we can peel back the layers and read what was never meant to be erased. These discoveries are giving us a raw, unfiltered look into the past, showing us not just what people believed, but what they feared, what they questioned, and what they tried to hide. And what if we could find lost cities and temples without even digging? That's what predictive AI is doing right now. By analyzing satellite images, climate data, terrain maps, and even plant growth, AI can pinpoint places where ancient civilizations once stood. In some cases, AI has found possible archaeological sites in places no one ever thought to search, places that could rewrite everything we know about ancient migrations, battles, and cultures. AI is even finding buried roads and tombs that were completely invisible to human archaeologists. It's like the Earth is whispering its secrets, and only machines can hear them. The future of archaeology isn't in the dirt, it's in the data. In China, a secret script used only by women is speaking again. For centuries, Nushu was a language passed down from mother to daughter through embroidery, songs, and handwritten letters. It was created by women, for women, in a society where they weren't allowed to speak publicly. But over time, the script almost vanished. Now, researchers from Dartmouth College launched a project called Nushu Rescue, powered by AI. They trained a model on just 35 example sentence pairs, and even with that tiny amount of data, the AI learned how to translate and expand the language digitally. This isn't just about preserving a script. It's about giving a voice back to generations of women who were silenced. Thanks to AI, their stories are now impossible to ignore. In ancient Persia, another lost language has just been cracked wide open. Middle Persian, a script locked in dusty manuscripts for centuries, is finally being understood thanks to a new AI toolkit called Parsip. This isn't just a translator. It breaks the language down to its very structure, analyzing sounds, grammar, and word relationships. For the first time, researchers are reading deep cultural stories that were buried for over 1,000 years. Some of them hint at major power struggles, religious revolutions, and political secrets that never made it into the official history books. Parsip is like a digital Rosetta Stone, unlocking the voices of people who lived through history's turning points and whose words were lost in time. And now, something legendary is happening with ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. These symbols are incredibly hard to decode because most of the original examples are damaged or missing. But scientists found a solution. Using a technique called neural style transfer, they trained AI to recreate the artistic look of real hieroglyphs. The result? Synthetic symbols so accurate that even experts can't tell them apart from the originals. This isn't just about copying art. It's about rebuilding a lost language so we can read messages that have been sitting in museum collections, untranslated, for decades. Some of these messages might contain forbidden knowledge, hidden rituals, or political secrets that were meant only for the elite. But now, with AI, those secrets are coming to light one symbol at a time. And finally, in India, something huge just happened. In April 2025, a historic moment took place in Kolkata. A project called Vidvanico was launched to decode over 52,000 ancient manuscripts stored at the Asiatic Society. These texts contain forgotten philosophies, sciences, and spiritual ideas, and most of them have never been translated. But now, with the help of AI trained on Sanskrit, Prakrit, and other old languages, we're finally unlocking what's inside. And what's being revealed? Some lines hint at lost technologies, hidden knowledge, and mysterious practices that challenge everything we thought we knew about India's past. These aren't just ancient writings, they might be the keys to a whole new understanding of history. Thanks to AI, the silence of centuries is breaking, and the stories buried in time are speaking again. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe our channel. Have a nice day.